This episode of The Witch Wave is brought to you by Wheel of Fate. Wheel of Fate in Edinburgh, Scotland is a cozy little witch shop where you can learn to make your own besom broom, bind a spell book, or spin wool into yarn. There you can find local art inspired by heritage crafts, the natural world, and regional myths and folklore. I love Scottish magic and mythology, and at Wheel of Fate, they believe that there is magic in the creative arts, and they want to share that magic with you. So go ahead and visit wheeloffate.co.uk to book a workshop or learn more. So I was just introduced to a truly splendid new tarot deck called the MetaMuse Tarot, and I absolutely love its gorgeous retro collage artwork, which modernizes the arcana without losing its meaningful symbolism. The images are so beautiful and fantastical, which you know I love, but also really elegant and diverse, and the whole deck just feels incredibly special with gold gilt edges, and it also comes in a collectible 2-piece hardcover box, and it has a 168-page guidebook, so the whole experience is just super deluxe. The MetaMuse Tarot is ideal for beginners as well as experienced readers because it follows the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith imagery, but what makes this deck unique is that in addition to its stunning artwork, there are many correspondences included in each card. Now, as you might know, each card in the tarot also has astrological, elemental, and even Kabbalistic associations, and this deck has all of that included in the artwork and in the guidebook, because exploring all of those associations and symbols adds so much more depth and magic to a tarot reading. Now, customers absolutely love the MetaMuse Tarot and have given many 5-star reviews over on Etsy and Shopify. So get your copy of the MetaMuse Tarot today over at shopthemetamuse.com. That's shop, TheMetamuse.com. And be sure to use the code WitchWave for 25% off. That's 25% off the MetaMuse Tarot using code WitchWave.
The world is filled with bewitching people, and you might be one too. Welcome to the podcast where art is magic is real, and reality is stranger than dreams. I'm Pam Grossman, and this is The Witch Wave.
Hello, and welcome to Season 9 of The Witch Wave. Happy autumn, happy Libra season, and oh my gods, do I have a special episode for you today. Because look, we're all feeling a lot, to say the least. The world feels scary and precarious, and you, like me, are probably feeling pretty stressed about it all. But my goal for this season, and for my life overall, honestly, is to provide as much joy and magic and beauty and delight as I possibly can, not to distract you or me, but to help us feed each other's spirits so that we can stay engaged and energized and remember what the hell we're all fighting for. We are fighting for freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom to express ourselves and be ourselves and love who we love and live in a world that is safe and peaceful and healthy and well-resourced and kind. And fucking fun, right? I think we all deserve the freedom to have a good time as long as we're not harming anyone else. So that is my intention for season 9 of The Witch Wave, and I am so happy to be back here with you. And so for today's episode, I wanted a guest who would be soothing and thoughtful and funny and capital G good. And guys, I think I nailed it. I think I nailed it with this one because yes, indeed, our season premiere guest is none other than Steve Burns, the former host of Blue's Clues and all-around human balm for the soul. Now, some of you know that Steve also happens to be a dear friend of mine. I know, it's so fucking surreal. I get it. But it was an absolute treat to get to speak with him about meaningful things and not just do what we usually do, which is send each other demented texts. But truly, Steve is beloved, not just by me, but also by millions of people around the world who find his online presence and now his podcast presence so comforting and inspiring. And I think you're going to love our conversation. I certainly did. But first, a few news items from me. Quick reminder that I'm the keynote speaker at the Witch Summit in Phoenix, Arizona on October 4th, and you can use code WitchWave for 10% off tickets. I'd love to see you there. And then, yes, you knew I was going to mention that my new book, Magic Maker, The Enchanted Path to Creativity, comes out on October 14th. And I would love if you would order it now because early orders helps bookstores and online vendors know that there is interest, and that causes them to stock even more of the book. So thank you so much for doing that. It really is such a big help. And I do indeed have some book launch events happening. I'll mention the New York City ones so you can mark your calendars. But yes, other locations will be announced soon. So on October 14th, the day the book comes out, I'll be in conversation with prior Witch Wave guest Mitch Horowitz at Book Club Bar in the East Village. And on October 21st, I will be in conversation with prior Witch Wave guest Darthea Lasky at Community Bookstore in Park Slope, Brooklyn. Now, tickets to the Occult Humanities Conference at NYU are sold out, but I do want to remind you that the vending area and the art exhibition are free and will be open to the public throughout the day. And I'll be doing some signings on both days, which are October 18th and 19th. So check out the Occult Humanities Conference website for the signing schedule if you want to roll up there for a quick autograph. There are also going to be great vendors, so please come on by even if you weren't able to snag a ticket. More book events will be announced soon, and you can find out about all of it by going to pamgrossman.com/events. And please sign up for my newsletter over there too. It really is the best way to find out about everything I've got going on, and it's going to be such a busy fall. I can't wait to see you. Okay, so back to the matter at hand. Steve Burns. Steve is a really interesting character overall, and certainly is in my life. He and my husband Matt are junior high theater friends who have continued to make theater together as adults. And so I've known Steve as one of Matt's friends and now my friend for years. But when Blue's Clues came out, I was 15. I was too old and too cool for it. And so I kind of missed the whole kids show phenomenon. Like, I was aware of it, but I never watched the show back then. And so when I first met Steve, it was kind of fascinating for me to try and square the fact that this really quite darkly hilarious, wonderfully strange, fully adult man that I was getting to know was considered like this benevolent older brother demigod figure to a generation of millions of children. And talking to him about it over the years and watching clips of his old show online have taught me that being on a show, playing a version of oneself, and literally using one's own name as the character's name is complex, to say the least. And it got me thinking about the power of alter egos. Because Steve, in quotes, the Blue's Clues character, isn't not Steve Burns. But certainly it also isn't all of Steve Burns either. And that got me thinking about other actors whose names are kind of synonymous with one role, with one alter ego. I'm thinking about Elvira, Pee Wee Herman, RuPaul, supermodel of the world. These characters are versions of Cassandra Peterson, Paul Rubens, and RuPaul Charles. These alter egos form a kind of container wherein the actor can access some aspect of their own creative expression, power, and yes, magic. And I believe it also helps them pull through something from spirit and then transmute it into a really magical, transformative gift for the world. I write about alter egos and shapeshifting in my book, Magic Maker. And in it, I quote RuPaul as saying, "I know how to make magic. I have the ability to help people cross over to their greatness and realize their potential. Drag for me has always been my superhero costume. I feel powerful in drag. I think other people see that and believe they can do the same thing." I've come to think about any persona as drag, as a kind of superhero costume that allows its wearer to amplify some of their magic powers. And even though Steve on Blue's Clues and my friend, the actor Steve Burns, share a first name, what I think the Blue's Clues persona that Steve Burns taps into is a kind of shape-shifting that helps him access his superpowers of compassion, deep listening, connection, and radical care. And as with the other performers I mentioned, I think Steve Burns has come to realize that his kids show persona wasn't just an act. Rather, it's a very precious part of him that he's now learning to fully integrate in his personal life and his creative public life. And he also helps us unlock our compassion and connection too. His stripy shirted kids show magic wasn't foolish or fake. And it's been such a treat to bear witness to him figuring out in real life how to share that magic of his with grown-ups now that he is fully a grown-up himself. Steve and I get into all this and more in today's conversation, and I can't wait to share it with you all. But before we get to that, first, let's check and see what's come through on The Witch Wire.
Who is it?
Witches!
Hi, Pam, and everyone listening. It's Will from Lansing, Michigan. I'm calling because I keep getting cosmic breadcrumbs fueled with rage. I feel like I keep seeing rage come up as a concept. I keep pulling this rage card from Yumi Sakagawa's Oracle deck. I keep hearing about rage. And there's so many things in my past that tell me to not lean into that experience, to not lean into rage, to cover it up and hide it. And also, the world is on fire. Everything is there's so many things that are awful, awful, awful out there that are making me filled with rage. And I guess my concept of rage is that it's something that you might lose yourself to, and yet it keeps coming up as a teacher, as a tool, as a thing that can fuel our work. I look also to Cole Arthur Riley as an author and a writer, and she has some really awesome things to say about rage in her Black Liturgies book, and I like that quite a bit. But when it comes to rage as a magical tool, how do you channel something that seems like that wily, that potentially dangerous, and channel that into productive practice, productive use through magic?
Hi, Will. So lovely to hear from you. And yes, I can relate so much to this question, and I imagine many other people listening can too. There is a lot to be enraged about right now, and I started making a list of all of it and just got so overwhelmed trying to recount it all. I mean, there are so many vulnerable, innocent people who are currently under threat or actively being harmed. There's mass censorship happening. There's climate change. There are billionaires getting even richer at the expense of everyone else, not to mention the genocide in Palestine, and so much more that I'm not even mentioning. It's fucking dire, okay? Let's not pretend otherwise. And yeah, it's enraging. And I totally understand the anxiety that one might feel about feeling rage, because I think people sometimes associate anger with toxic masculinity and oppression, but I don't see it that way myself. I think rage is actually, and I know this might sound a little weird, but I think it's actually pretty neutral because it's an energy. It's like electricity. It's like magic. It's a powerful force that enhances or charges whatever you point it at. So sure, you might choose to apply that to messing with the people you are enraged at. But I recommend that instead you use that rage to be creative and not destructive. Use that rage to make art, to protest, to protect those you care about. Use that rage to build something better, to make your corner of the world so undeniably beautiful and radiantly joyful and full of care that you attract more people to your way of being. I totally understand the impulse to burn it all down. I sometimes feel that too. But I think rage that causes you to make something new and fucking awesome, even if it's out of spite, is so much more productive, and it doesn't add fuel to your opponent's fire and give them an excuse to retaliate. Destructive people want us to be destructive too, so that they can then paint us as the violent monsters. I'm not saying don't fight back, and I'm not saying don't defend yourself or your family or your community. But I am saying that sacred rage is an ultimately creative force because it fuels a roaring fire that can be warming and illuminate the truth and light a path toward a brighter future. So please, Will, rage on, rage productively, creatively, magically, rage with love. Now, on to my guest. Steve Burns is an American actor and musician, best known as the former host of the children's television series Blue's Clues. He starred in the hit show from 1996 to 2002 and got a Daytime Emmy nomination in 2001. As a musician, he's released several albums of his original music, and he has opened for the Flaming Lips and collaborated with one of the band's members on the Kids' album For Everywhere. Steve is an accomplished TV and stage actor, most recently starring in a developmental run of his one-man show, Steve Burns Alive, which was directed and co-written by my brilliant husband, Matthew Freeman. And Steve is a much-requested public speaker about mental health and emotional wellness. His new podcast, Alive with Steve Burns, launched last week from Lemonada Media, and it is a treasure. And I encourage you all to check it out over on YouTube or in your favorite podcast app. Speaking of YouTube, you can watch the video of our conversation over on my YouTube channel, which is at Phantasmophile. Steve joined me live in the studio here in Brooklyn. Steve Burns, welcome to the Witch Wave.
Ham Grossman, I am so happy to be here. It's going to be a struggle for me not to call you Grossman.
You can call me Grossman all
Grossman.
you want.
It's Grossman.
Yes, and I am here to expose you as the monster I know you to be.
I think you're the right person to do it.
I think so
happy.
too.
I'm happy to do it, Pam.
Thank you.
Let's end this reign today.
I'm saying.
I'm tired of people thinking I'm nice.
I know that you're actually like a devious goblin.
You do know that. That
Yes.
is so true. This is a mistake.
Yeah, I have a lot to
shouldn't
lord over
be
you.
here. You really do.
Yeah.
You have power right now. You could destroy me right now. I've agreed to do this. And dear God, do you know things?
Could you destroy me too, though?
Not really. You're nicer than me.
Anyway, let's give people context. How the hell do we know each other, Steve?
Oh.
And actually, let me interrupt my own question because I'm a pro and say we've known each other for over 20 years now.
Yeah.
Isn't that insane?
Honestly, it feels longer than that because you are married to my oldest friend.
Mm-hmm.
Probably my dearest friend. And I just feel like you've always been a part of his life in a beautiful way.
That's so
It's
sweet.
difficult for me to think of my friend Matt Freeman without thinking of my friend Grossman at this point. That's real.
That's lovely.
It
Well,
is.
we adore you, even though we know way too much about you. My hand is so sweaty.
It's okay,
You're
me
holding it
too.
anyway.
Me too.
I'm so
It's
embarrassed.
really bad. It's horrible.
It's awful.
Everything
I
is
hate
bad
this
now.
so much. Ugh, human touch. I recoil. But you and Matt, actually, that is a good place to start because you guys grew up together in Pennsylvania and you started doing theater together in middle school, if I'm getting that right. Or was it high
Junior
school?
high.
Okay.
Is that middle school?
It was in New Jersey. I don't
Yeah,
know what
that's
you
what it is.
weird
We called it junior high.
Pennsylvanians
It's
call.
middle school.
Okay.
God damn, it's a long time ago.
Yeah. And, so many people know you as the Mr. Rogers of the 1990s,
Yeah.
Steve Burns of Blue's Clues, Steve in quotes.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. But a lot of people don't realize that you are a trained actor.
Not really, Pam. Grossman.
Come on now.
No, I mean, acting is what I did, but I'm not trained. I had one formal acting class in college, and I worked in that class for 15 minutes. It was my turn for 15 minutes, and we did a scene from a play called The Foreigner, where I didn't have any lines.
Mm-hmm.
The rest I pulled out of my butt. I was in a theater program in this little tiny school called DeSales University, like outside of Allentown, Pennsylvania. And I got cast a lot in their plays.
Okay.
So I was doing theater a lot, as a college kid.
Yes.
And that was my training, to be honest.
But wait a second. You were given a prize by Uta Hagen.
That is correct.
And for those who don't know who she is, she was essentially like the acting teacher for a whole, maybe several generations of some of the finest actors in the whole world. And she thought you were an incredible actor. So let's not be humble, Steve. This is not the place to do that.
I mean, I'm not gonna poo-poo that story because it is true.
Yes.
But she also told me I was bad one day. So the story is one day I was at this acting festival. That's really what it was. I was at like an acting competition in DC, and she told me that I was wonderful. But then the next day, she told me that my scene was bad. So both things are true.
But she gave you a prize.
She did. I did win.
You won a contest, essentially? A competition?
Yeah, it was a national theater thing where, you win at your little school, and then there's another one, regional. And then
I am not going to let you keep on underselling this. Here's my point, Steve, and you know the point I'm trying to make. Stop undercutting the point, which is you're fucking very talented. And I know you can't say that about yourself. I'm going to say I have seen Steve Burns on many stages. I've seen you do Shakespeare. I've seen you in many of my husband's plays. You are so fucking brilliant and talented. And Steve, you were not aspiring to be a children's television host, correct?
That is correct. It was weird when I got to New York City, the stuff that it was assumed I would be good at was like serious-y
Right.
kind of stuff. I moved to New York City to kind of be the dangerous 70s short guy actor.
Dustin Hoffman.
Al
Pacino.
That was the I was like, oh yeah, that's what I'll be. Not so much because that's what I felt like I should be, but because that's what people told me I was good at.
Yeah.
Right. But I always had this kind of impish clown side of me.
Mm-hmm.
Dying to get out, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You move to New York and you just expect to disappear.
Were you hoping to be on stage, on film? Like, what was the big dream?
Film.
Okay.
I wanted to be Al Pacino from Dog Day Afternoon.
Yes.
I still want to be that. But that was very much the burning thing in me that I felt I needed to get out.
Mm-hmm.
And Blue's Clues came up. It was just an audition I had. It was one of the very first auditions I had in many ways. And
Right.
I thought it was a voiceover or I wouldn't have gone, really.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Did you know it was for kids
Yeah,
originally?
yeah,
Okay, so
yeah,
you knew
yeah.
the audition was a kids show of some kind.
I thought it was to be the voice of a cartoon.
Okay, got it.
You know,
And cut to, you get cast.
yeah.
You are on this show. It becomes a fucking phenomenon,
Like immediately.
right?
Right.
And you're in your late 20s,
No.
mid-20s? How old were you
Pam,
when you got
I
cast?
was a baby.
So
I was like
22?
21, 22 years old.
Okay, so you're just starting out.
Yeah.
You trip and fall into ungodly amounts of success.
Well, no, because I tripped and fell into this weird kid show and it was an ungodly success. But I mean, we were making that show for no money.
Mm-hmm.
There was no money, not just for me, but for anyone, but for the production. Like we were doing that on desktop Macintosh.
Mm-hmm.
It was shoestring. We were
Green screen.
We were in a room like this,
Mm-hmm.
right? It wasn't even a studio. It wasn't even a soundstage.
Right.
So the lights, I could jump up and touch them. And because it was a blue screen, like they were so bright and so hot, it was like someone had plugged in the sun or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it was almost dangerous.
Yeah.
And I would sweat off my makeup. I'd sweat through the thing. It was really,
Through the stripy shirt.
yeah, it was really like,
If that
it
shirt
didn't,
could talk.
it didn't, it would say, ew. It didn't feel like success. It just felt like struggle,
Yeah.
you know? But I knew that the show itself was beating Sesame Street or
Exactly.
number one and all
Yep,
like that. But
yep.
there was no way to internalize that. And there was no way that it felt like that
Mm-hmm.
really at all
Yes.
until about the third season. But even then, it didn't feel like success.
Right.
It felt like a mistake.
So this is the late 90s, right?
Yeah.
And at the height of the Blue's Clues phenomenon, like you were on the Rosie O'Donnell show,
Yeah.
you were nominated for a Daytime Emmy. Like by a lot of metrics, you were successful, but you're saying that there's kind of a gulf between how it looked and how it actually felt.
Yeah, it felt like someone had made a terrible mistake.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the show and I was proud of what it was, but I felt like terribly miscast and unqualified, completely
Yeah.
unqualified.
Imposter syndrome.
I guess that's what we call it now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just felt like I was on a path I was not supposed to be on.
Mhm.
And while it was good,
Yes.
it was really disorienting and super confusing. And it just felt like I was leading someone else's life. It should have been a teacher, is what I kept thinking.
Yeah.
I still kind of feel that way. It should have been a teacher or a child development specialist. Because I was fresh out of acting school and I thought I was like hot shit actor guy and I was on this kid show. I mean, I was like, your husband knows this. I took it so seriously.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to act this so hard. And I was
Yeah.
bringing all this
You
stuff
and like
to
the
it.
salt and pepper shaker had
I'm
a
telling you,
whole
Pam.
backstory.
I'm telling you, like,
Did you do journals, diaries?
no, I'm not that kind of actor.
Okay.
Has to be something real here.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things that I've always wanted to kind of talk to you about. My job was to talk to the camera. And this is what I loved about the show was this idea that I was reaching through the camera and trying to create a viable moment of actual connection.
Yes.
Wherein I could convince you, the home viewer, that I heard you
Yes.
and that I needed your help and that you were my ride or die and my homie and we were in this together. That's a cool thing.
Yes.
That's a cool, I always called it a magic trick.
It is a magic trick.
And that moment of being close to the camera and listening to the camera was what I considered my contribution.
Mm-hmm.
And I considered my department at
Yes.
that production.
Yes.
And it was always weird. And all these years later, I can't exactly describe what I was doing. And I think that's good. I think that's part of why it worked.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was way out there in that weird little moment, like in the camera, listening to it.
Yes.
And I've tried to talk to Josh and Donovan, the guys who came after me.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't really explain what I was doing. It
Yeah.
was kind of this vibe that I deeply understood,
Yes.
but probably could not explain.
And it sounds very intuitive. No
Yeah,
one said, hey,
exactly.
Steve, we're going to do some screen testing and we're going to teach you how to do this. You just
Yeah.
did it. And that's why you got the job. We'll just call it a gift you were given to be able to connect with people through the lens. Because I've told you this many times. I am comfortable in front of a camera when I'm focused on someone else.
Mhm.
Like right now, the cameras are on and I don't really care because I'm comfortable talking to you and we're
Mhm.
collaborating together. But when I've had to do direct address to camera, and not just on this show, but for other things I've done professionally, I get a little bit tense. Like, I don't know how to do the thing you do. Would you call it like you're sending like love through the camera? Are you imagining one person? Are you imagining many people? Like, what is this thing? And can I learn any of it from you? I know you're saying maybe not, but I'd be so curious. Like, how does it feel? What are you envisioning?
You're asking the right questions.
Yeah.
Sending love through the camera might be a little overstated for what I was doing.
Yes.
But I think that's the idea
Yeah.
because you are sending through
Yes.
the camera. I never really thought about it that way, but I can give you my formula. I can give you my recipe
Yes,
for it.
please.
What I was doing, this is me, right?
Yes.
What I was
And for
doing,
those listening on the podcast, I encourage them to go on YouTube at Phantasmophile because this has the visual aspect
this
to
is
it.
going to be fairly visual.
Yes.
But what I was doing was making it private. That's a good way to look at it. I was making whatever I was saying I can do it while you're in the room, right?
Yes.
Like I can make the conversation I'm having with the camera
Yeah.
a little private.
So it's a little like conspiratorial.
Conspiratorial
Yeah.
is another word. There's like an acty trick where you can just act as though there's other people in the room that you don't really want to know.
Don't
Right?
tell those people back there what we're doing.
See what you just did right
Yeah,
there
yeah,
was
yeah,
very
yeah.
connected to that camera.
That's so helpful.
You also asked, is it multiple people? For me, it was always one. Always, specifically one person to make that a very personal connection.
Yes. I was going to say intimate, but that's not a good word to use when we're talking about children. But you
Right.
know what I mean,
Yeah,
like
I do.
a very one-on-one connection. And you know what this is making me think of? So on the show, we had a multi-Grammy award-winning musician, Cecile McLaurin Salvant, and she has performed at the biggest stages ever. And she says that when she sings, she acts like she's telling a secret to one person
Oh,
in the
there you go.
audience. And that was so, for me, not to brag, but I was recently on stage at Carnegie Hall
Oh,
myself.
really, Pam? I had no idea.
With Jinx Monsoon. I don't know if you know.
That's never come up.
But for me, I was casting a spell. So I was trying to be as grand as I could be and trying to like envelop the whole audience in my wings, if
Yeah.
you will. And that's totally different than what you're talking about, which is about getting almost smaller is not the right word, but more dialed in.
It's different, but it's also exactly the same.
Huh.
Pam, because, you know, when I left the kids show, I tried to be a musician.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I'm aware.
And I had some pretty cool songs.
And you opened for the Flaming
Yeah,
Lips.
yeah.
Come on. So fucking cool.
And when I was an actor on stage, you talking about this, I love your example of opening wings and bringing everyone in. I know what that is.
Yeah.
Like, I understand this idea of creating a presence
Yes.
on a stage where using the focus that people are giving you and sort of broadcasting it back. I sort of understand that.
Right. It's expansive.
Yeah.
And opening.
I get that.
Yeah.
And I also understand at least a little what it is to stand on a stage and do a monologue or something and kind of balance 600 people on the end of a pin
Mm-hmm.
and really engage them and make that moment live. But I can't do it with music like your friend.
Huh.
I thought for sure in my private heart that I was going to get up there on that stage and do my thing.
Yeah.
And it would be Play-Doh through the Play-Doh Fun Factory where I would just push it through a different lens
Yeah.
and it would work.
Yeah.
And I would do that. I'd connect.
Mm-hmm.
And I sucked at it like you would not believe.
Are you sure?
I am sure.
You told me these stories.
It is
and your
true.
music is so great. We should also just shout out randomly, your song is the theme music for the show Young Sheldon.
I wrote
Like
it.
you've made music with one of the Flaming Lips. Like
Yeah.
you've had success in the musical space, but you're talking about live
But on
performance.
stage,
Huh.
I mean, you're talking about this connection that, who was this artist?
Cecile McLaurin Salvant.
Right.
Yeah.
That is, the way that she said that is exactly right. That resonates with me.
Yeah.
And so does your story about spreading your wings and
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
I was unable to ever do that
Huh.
with a guitar in my hand, singing my own music. Those songs from 20 years ago that I
Yeah.
wrote on that little record
Yeah.
were the most personal things to this day that I've ever done. Those are my guts,
Yes.
you know, and
Yes.
I was unable to connect those.
What do you think the kind of hang up was? Was it about vulnerability and exposing yourself versus playing a character? Which, even though you're named Steve on Blue's Clues, it's still a persona, it's a character. Whereas the songs, they feel more, I don't know, personal, exposed.
So the lead singer of the band I was working with a band called the Flaming Lips,
Mhm.
and their lead singer, Wayne Coyne, is
The
a
best.
kind of a brilliant dude, like a for real brilliant dude, a very generous man. And he took me on tour with him. And after the tour, he sat me down. He's like, Steve Burns, goddamn, come on over, have coffee. And he poured me a big cup of coffee and he was like, that didn't work at all. And I was like, I know. And he explained why. And he said that, I'll do a Wayne imitation here for y'all. He's from Oklahoma. And he said, people come to rock shows for 3 reasons. The first one is to get drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Second reason is to possibly get laid.
Mm-hmm.
The third reason is to watch human beings stand on a stage and believe in themselves in ways that they cannot. He's like, you don't got that third thing.
Damn! Wayne Coyne, that's fucking brutal.
No, that's fucking generous.
Were you shattered, though?
I was, of course, but that's respect. I am still really grateful to him for that. And then he was, of course, he said, and that's our fault because we just picked you up and threw you on stage with us. You were playing for 5,000 people at the Hammersmith Apollo. You had no idea which was like your first show, He's like, it took me 20 years to get good at this. And,
Right.
But he was right. I didn't believe in myself in that moment because I didn't know who I was in that moment.
But could you foresee a future self wherein you learn those skills and get back on stage and make music? Because I'm hearing you say, like, that's your guts. That's what you love to do.
Well, what I love to do is make that music.
Mm.
I like to be in the studio and just get it out, But on stage, maybe, but I've never felt it,
Okay. Well, we'll see. Watch this space.
I mean, I'm getting old now, Grossman. It would have to be like
you're
kind of a Nick
middle-aged.
Cave kind of thing.
I mean, he's great. Hey.
Oh, he's the greatest.
David Byrne, come on. You could have some
David
silver
Byrne's
hair.
starting to look a little like, what are you doing, bro?
I think he's fabulous.
Oh, me too. I
Yes.
mean, obviously.
Yes.
Obviously.
Obviously. Well, listen, you mentioned drugs and sex. So obviously that's where my brain goes. And I have to ask you, as a kids show host and a 21-year-old,
Yeah.
did you feel dissonance between who you had to be on screen versus like you were trying to have dates? You were trying to, I'm sure, have like fun nights out and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously social media didn't exist back then.
Yeah.
But was it tough reconciling like being this kids show host in public and then wanting to be an adult and live like an adult? Like, how did you kind of cross that bridge?
Well, while I was on the show, I was so busy for real that, I mean, there just wasn't a lot of debauchery that would fit into waking up the next day and actually being able to do my job. It was more after the show was over. I wanted to be bad. I really did. Like I had that period where I was like, I can be so bad now. I want to be anti-Steve.
Yeah.
But I wasn't great at that either. You know what I mean? I just don't think I'm that dude. Like drugs were never really my thing. I don't like that. And alcohol was a real thing for me in my life, but not so much in a public way.
Right.
Alcohol was a way for me to be in public because, you know, you and I talk about this.
Of course.
I'm painfully introverted and you and I are both the same way. We can fake it real well.
Sure. We can perform as extroverts.
But
I don't even
great
think that's
cost.
faking it. Like, I think we have that gift, but also, there's a recovery period for sure.
Yeah.
At least that's my experience. I shouldn't put words in your mouth.
But I mean, if I was wasted, I was great at it.
Right.
You know? And it was also a way, you know, you talk about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. You know, alcohol makes sex a lot easier if you're an introvert. I would associate those two things.
Right.
And so the tension that you're talking about of being a kid show host who wants to be a rock star and party like a rock star and go out and get laid and do stuff.
Yes.
That happened more after I left the show. During the show, you know, being on TV was very helpful.
Yeah.
You
Totally.
know? I mean, I was one of People Magazine's most eligible bachelors. And people thought it was, and people thought it was really like kind of strange and adorable that I was on that show.
Yes.
So I can't say it hurt.
I mean, lots of moms and probably dads too had wild crushes on you.
Moms and nannies, man. You know, that was the vibe.
Yes. On that note, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. This episode of The Witch Wave is brought to you by Mithras Candle, as it so often is. Fall is here, and with the cool autumn air and darkening evenings comes a radiant tool for creating the perfect sacred setting or cozy moment. Of course, I'm talking about Mithras candles, my favorite. For 10 years, my mythic and scientific pals in Philadelphia have been hand-making gorgeous beeswax lights inspired by their experiences in science, magic, and mysticism. Mithras candles come in natural golden yellow and sensual black, with other colors and collaborations popping up throughout the wheel of the year. I'm obsessed with these candles. If you've listened to The Witch Wave for any amount of time, you will know that. And I know that you will be hooked as well once you experience the Byzantine hand-dripped style of a Mithras candle and their honey floral aroma. These candles are made with soul to carry your intentions to where they are needed. Go to mithrascandle.com to pick up the perfect glowing addition to your magical moments. And best of all, Witchwave listeners get 25% off their first order by using offer code WitchWave at checkout. That's offer code WitchWave over at Mithras Candle. M as in magic, ITHRAS candle.com. The Witch Wave is sponsored by BetterHelp. Have you ever found yourself kind of oversharing with your barista or maybe asking your hairdresser for advice? I know I sometimes will ask way too many friends for their opinions about something when honestly, I really just need to listen to myself and do some soul searching, or even better, I need to talk to my therapist about it because it's some obviously really deep-rooted stuff that I am just ruminating about over and over in my head. Rather than just soliciting casual opinions from people who may or may not have your best interests at heart, why don't you consider seeing a professional whose entire job is to listen to you and help you sort out anything you're going through or any decision you have to make. This keeps you from exhausting friends and strangers, certainly, but it also helps you really dive deep and figure out what is the real why behind the decision you have to make or the issue you're trying to sort through. Because there really is a difference between talking to friends and random people on the street than talking with a therapist. Sometimes it's not even appropriate to share all your feelings and opinions with certain people out in the world, right? Or even certain people in your social circle. A therapist is neutral and they are a professional. They are clinically trained and credentialed, and they are there for the sole purpose of helping you and listening to you ruminate about whatever it is that is on your mind and in your heart. I happen to love my therapist. She's become a very key component of my well-being and my decision-making. And if I could wave my magic wand, I would give everybody therapy. BetterHelp is the next best thing to that magic wand because it has been helping people find their match for over 10 years and has a 4.9 rating out of 1.7 million. Yes, that's right, million client session reviews. And BetterHelp does the initial matching work for you. They're not just pairing you with a random stranger. They send you a short questionnaire, which helps you identify your needs and preferences, and their 10 plus years of experience and industry-leading match fulfillment rate means they typically get it right the first time. But if you aren't happy with your match, you can switch to a different therapist at any time from their tailored recommendations. And with over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. So they are sure to find a really good match for you. Find the one with BetterHelp. And WitchWave listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/witchwave. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/witchwave. Hey there. So people are always asking me how they can get more WitchWave, how they can work with me, how they can find magical community. And my answer is join the WitchWave Patreon. There is where you'll get bi-weekly bonus WitchWave Plus episodes, as well as ad-free WitchWave episodes and detailed show notes for all. The WitchWave Patreon is also where I lead a monthly online magical ritual, which you can attend live or watch the recording of at your convenience. And that's available for members at all tiers. And then rewards for some other tiers also include magical merch and contests where you can win Witchly prizes, as well as getting early heads up about my workshops before they sell out, and opportunities to get magical one-on-one guidance from me. And all backers get access to our exclusive digital coven, where you can connect to a community of other wonderful WitchWave witches around the world. So head on over to patreon.com/witchwave and sign up. It's a marvelous way to get more magic in your life and to support the show. Thank you so much. Welcome back to the Witch Wave. When you were done with the show, and I don't think you and I have actually talked about this privately. I am curious, I don't even know the circumstances under which you left. I don't know if they asked you to leave or you asked to leave. But whatever those circumstances were, you suddenly don't have that show. What were you hoping to do and be? Were you still hoping to do the Dustin Hoffman, Al Pacino thing? Okay.
100%.
Yes. And did you feel hemmed in by the fact that now people only knew you as Steve on Blue's Clues?
You want the real?
You know
I don't think I've ever told these stories. This is going to hurt. These are painful stories. Blue's Clues opened many more doors for me than it closed.
Okay.
But when I left that show, it's actually a hard thing to explain to someone who's not an actor, I think. But I was acting every take of every shot every day by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have other actors. I didn't even have props, right? It was just me.
Yeah.
And so I had to overcreate every moment.
Your world building. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a real bad habit as an actor because acting is about other people.
Mm-hmm.
Acting is about living in a live moment. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I had 10,000 hours of doing the opposite.
How interesting.
I was a much better actor before that show than I was after. There were a lot of opportunities that I just blew because I was out of acting shape. Here's one. Here's one that's going to kill you.
Oh, God. Okay.
I had a request audition from the Coen brothers for that movie, Intolerable Cruelty.
Yes.
The Ed Helms role, George Clooney's sidekick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they gave me the script and I read it. And I was a huge Coen brothers fan.
Of course.
Right. And I thought it was a drama.
Oh, Steve.
And I went to LA and I read for that role as though it were serious. And the casting director was like, "Do you want to try that again?" I'm like, "Of course I do." And she was like, "Thanks."
Yeah.
And then I saw the movie and it was devastating. So I was like, I could have done that.
Don't you think they could have just directed you better? That doesn't feel
I don't think that's the way
entirely
it works.
on you.
I don't think Joel and Ethan Coen were sitting there going, you know who is the absolute perfect person for this? Is the dude from the kid show. I think somebody was like, that would be cool. Let's see what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they were like, you don't want to see what he did.
Okay. Here's where I feel the need or the urge to, I don't want to say correct the record, because obviously this is your lived experience and you know better than me. I have seen you on stage. As I said earlier, I've seen you do Shakespeare. I've seen you do
When the hell did you see me do Shakespeare?
Pennsylvania Shakes.
What did
you
I
were
do?
in, I want to say 12th Night. You were a clown
no.
jester. Am I right?
Comedy of Errors.
Comedy of Errors. Thank you. Matt's going to be so humiliated that I got this wrong.
No,
Matt loves Shakespeare so much, and I'm always sort of into Shakespeare.
We can talk about it. I'm not a big Shakespeare fan.
Oh
I said that out loud.
Wow.
I said that out loud.
Wow. We are
There's
burning bridges as we go.
There's 6 or 7 plays, and those are the greatest plays that any human being ever wrote or will ever write. But
Yes.
Comedy of Errors is not a great.
Well, you were great in it, and that's my fucking point. And stop deflecting, Steve
Okay.
Burns. You are very good at acting.
Well-
Sorry, Josh, I'm not supposed to clap, but you are very good at acting.
I think, thank you. And I think sometimes
You're
I am.
welcome.
I think sometimes I am.
You're welcome.
But I'm a little bit of an inconsistent actor. I think, your husband would admit that, I'm one of those guys who, if I find a vein of gold, I know what to do and I can hit that out of the park. But if someone is like, Steve, read this script and know what to do, I'm lost hopelessly. That's true. And I think there's a lot of people who are like that. And that's what training is for.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm entirely untrained to this day. I have no idea.
All right. Well, I still think, and I've said this to you many times,
I'll take it, Pam.
I really think you're brilliant, and I really can see you doing so many more roles, if indeed that is something that you want to do. But what you are doing now is a podcast.
Literally.
Yes.
I'm
No, not
literally
this
doing that
podcast.
right
You
now.
are starting your own podcast, Alive with Steve Burns.
Mhm.
And we should talk about what led up to you deciding to do this, because it feels like no matter how much you've tried to get away from the Steve on Blue's Clues self, it continues to be this strange gift that keeps showing you that you have this incredible connection to people. And those people are not children anymore. They are people in their 30s and 40s and 50s and so on who still deeply connect to you. And I have to imagine that even though maybe you're not the Dustin Hoffman or the Al Pacino, that there's something kind of magnificent about knowing you have this connection with millions of people, but also trying to figure out what the fuck to do with that connection now that you are no longer a kid show host, right?
Yeah, it does feel like an opportunity, and it feels special to know that all that hard work we were talking about back in the day on that show did make a connection.
Mm-hmm. People love you so fucking much.
That keeps me up at night. That keeps me up at night. Like that I refuse to internalize. But that worked, right?
Mm-hmm.
In a way that has been indelible for all this time. It was durable.
Right.
You know, and I didn't expect that. I thought everyone thought I was dead.
Well, they
really did. I thought everyone forgot me and thought I was dead. That's the real truth. And
there were rumors of your death. I mean,
tons.
Yeah.
You know, I just assumed that that's what people would have preferred. I mean, it just seemed like that's what the world wanted. That's the story they were going with.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all right, fine. That's fine. I will go be a voiceover artist and lock myself in my house in Brooklyn for the rest of my life. And when I did that viral video during the pandemic,
mm-hmm.
I kind of did a shout out video.
You went back into character as Steve from Blue's Clues.
No, I didn't.
You don't think so?
That was the difference.
Okay. Tell the good people what this viral video was in case they were under a rock.
Blue's Clues turned 25 and they asked me to do a shout out to the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I said no, because current kids have no idea who I am.
Mm.
But I would love to talk to my friend. And
who grew up watching you.
Right. Because for me, and this, people don't understand this, and I say it all the time, that was a one-on-one personal relationship to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very small and it was very personal.
This imagined friend
Yeah.
that you're talking to through the camera.
That's right.
Okay.
And it really literally was the camera, because while we were shooting that show, it was me in a room and a camera.
Right.
And that's all I had.
Right.
After all of those episodes, like, developed an actual sort of connection to this thing. And I was like, well, I want to talk to that person again. And we didn't write it or anything. I just improvised it. I just kind of said whatever I was thinking.
Yeah.
And it was very simple and completely, really kind of unremarkable what I was doing. And it wasn't Steve. I mean, Steve from Blue's Clues had a crazy voice, and he would like jump into the air, and he was like, whoa. And he was like really befuddled and really excitable. And it was all of this energy that is not inherently mine.
Right.
And I used none of that for that video.
That's such a good point.
I just showed up as me.
Think about that. But yeah. You were you, but you were connecting to that person or that audience.
I was me, and using the camera as a lens in order to communicate with people as adults from a place of joy from their childhood.
Yes.
But none of this was high-minded or thought out. This is just what happened.
Yes.
And what I realized much later was, oh my goodness, I am now Steve and Steve is now me. And I just put my arm around this dude, and the identity tension disappeared. And it was such a gift, right?
Mm.
And now I feel like really very comfortable with all of that in a way that I never did.
Integrated.
Yeah.
Okay.
That video, all I did, I'm sorry for the people who didn't see it.
Yeah.
All I did was say, hey, it's me. Remember us? It's me, that guy from when you were my ride or die, and we hung out and we did all this stuff. And then I left, and look at us now. It's all this time later. And we used to talk about vegetables, and now like there are student loans, and like our parents are sick.
Yeah.
And it was a dark moment. It was in the height of the pandemic, and shit was dark. That was a bad time.
Yes.
And I needed that connection.
Yes.
I needed to connect to that moment too.
Mm-hmm.
And the internet was a particularly ugly place. You know, it was the beginning.
He says.
It's worse now,
Yeah.
but it was the beginning of this idea of not only a lack of empathy, but a celebration of that disappearance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it just seemed nasty.
Yes.
And I wanted to see if a careful, care-driven conversation meant anything. And it exploded, right?
It exploded,
now,
this
that
video.
Has nothing really ultimately to do with what I did, and more to what people were bringing to that moment, because it was something that was missing in the conversation.
And also, you're really good I'll call it as a performer or just as a person at like giving people this container, this space that they can fill.
Anybody can do that. You can do that. We can all do that, you know?
Right.
It's not a remarkable
But they have
thing.
a context with you where
That's right.
because you hooked in when they were children,
That's right.
they trust you. People love and trust you or some aspect of you.
Right.
And that feels like a superpower. And of course, it also feels like great responsibility, I would imagine.
It feels like a super opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I don't know if it's a power of mine, because I think what's remarkable about that is coming the other way. It's coming from what people are doing with that moment. And I think you're right. I think that it's because of the special access granted by the joy of childhood.
Yes.
And it does create an opportunity for a lot of the things that Blue's Clues was to scale into adulthood. And there's a lot of good shit in that show to scale, like the deep listening.
Yes.
Deep listening obviously is where, you know, I always say silence has a voice. It's pretty loud. And that's where empathy starts, compassion begins. All that shit is, that's in the silence and in the listening. And our screens are completely optimized to piss us off and steal our attention.
Yes.
And in a world like that, listening is a radical thing.
Yes.
And if it's working with what I'm doing for whatever reason, let's do more, right?
Right.
And that's kind of what the podcast is. It's just like, how can we just scale all that up? And it seems really simple.
And you're having adult conversations with other adults now
Yeah,
about
none of it is for
big
children.
topics, right?
Yeah.
So what are some of the topics that you're covering? Who are some of the people you're talking to, as much or as little as you want to get into the details of it?
Well, you know, in conceiving the first season, I don't know how you do this, but I sat down and I just wrote out a whole season. And
Your wish list?
yeah, well, yeah. And it's like, oh, death, sex, and taxes, man. Like, let's
Yeah.
go for it. Let's
Yeah.
go for all the stuff.
Yeah.
The fundamental conceit of the show is that being alive is super weird and you're not doing it alone because there's a human being on the other side of the screen. And let's try to remember that. And the whole podcast is about you, right? It's not about me. The podcast is about you.
Right.
And it includes silence and listening and open-ended questions and
Special guests.
special guests. You know, our first guest is a hospice nurse.
Steve.
But-
going right for the like ooey gooey guts.
Well, right. I mean, the first episode is basically, hey, come on in. You ever think about dying? I do all the time. In fact, everybody thought I was dead for a really long time. Messed me up real bad. What is that? What does it even mean to die?
Yep.
And so then we just dive in. And then we do celebrities like Jamie Lee Curtis stop by.
She's just such a goddess.
And she's a
though.
legendary badass.
Yeah.
In any way you can imagine, she
Yes.
is a legendary badass. And just a great hang. And she's a depth bomb of a
Oh my
person.
goodness. I'm sure. And also such a huge cheerleader for other people too.
Yeah.
Which is why she feels like a great match for what this podcast is about.
Yeah, and she's also my favorite children's book author, by the way. She does so many things, but she's got such a voice for kids. Sometimes there's celebrities, but what I'm most interested in are subjects
Yeah.
and questions.
Yeah.
You know, the vibe is curious. It's never prescriptive in
Yes.
any way.
Yes.
I don't have answers or advice.
Yes.
I'm not that dude, but I'm more like a fellow traveler on the struggle bus, like the neurotic dude who sits next to you and who can like ask better questions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's
I'm
what it is.
so excited to listen to it. It's going to be so fabulous. I just know it. And I think it's something people really want. I think people really, I'm sure you're tired of people saying this, but I think people are looking for the antidote to like the manosphere in the podcasting world. And it's nice.
What would that be? What do you mean by that? Because I hear it a lot. And it sounds good to me, but I don't know what it means.
Dude who's not a fucking asshole trying to sell you, I don't know, muscle powder and like who's not spouting toxic right-wing masculinity bullshit, for example.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
You know, I am disturbed a lot by the rebranding of strength that I perceive
Exactly.
as being purely about dominance and not about empathy or compassion. It's like, have we forgotten all spiritual and philosophical wisdom? Like literally all of it?
I'm saying,
And I'm not just being like a soft and mamby-pamby kid show host. I think that as a matter of practicality, that definition of strength is woefully inadequate and totally sucks.
correct.
And pretty tragic
Yes.
and won't work,
Yep.
you know? And it's like all of our myths, all of our stories tell you the opposite. What would Yoda say?
Exactly.
Miyagi kicked everyone's ass.
Yep.
Like, come on. Like, are we
Exactly.
forgetting this?
Exactly.
And even, what was his name? Maximus Decimus Meridius, the gladiator guy. He was about restraint and mercy. And, you know, it's like, we got to remember this stuff.
Exactly.
This is an inadequate reckoning of what it means to be strong and a tragic definition of being a man.
Yes.
And outside of how I feel about it, it's also just not going to work. I mean, we've tried this in
And it's
history.
destroying the planet, which, P.S., we all live on, including dudes. So
Yeah.
you're just shooting yourself in the foot.
Now, I will say some of that alpha, silverback, chest beating warrior ethos and dominance, so that is an aspect of strength. I recognize that. And
Okay.
some of that is important, you know?
No one's trying to emasculate anybody. We're
Well-
just trying to get men to be the protectors and the compassionate warriors that they, I think, can and should be, and not just be out for themselves, harming other people for their own benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Strength at the expense of empathy is weakness,
Yes.
probably.
Beautifully said.
Thank you. Drop.
On that note, we're going to take another quick break and we'll be right back.
This episode of The Witch Wave is brought to you by Robin Rose Bennett. So many of you have heard me gush about Robin Rose Bennett, my mentor and beloved friend who is a green witch. I studied with Robin for years, and she's been a guest on The Witch Wave, and lucky you, because you can study with her too now. She is offering an inspiring new online course rooted in almost 40 years of learning from and about the plants and her deep connection to the earth and spirit. On October 8th, she will be offering a free live webinar called Plants as Healing Allies. What's love got to do with it? The best. You're not going to want to miss this free webinar. Just trust me. Just sign up for it. Robin is life-changing. And if you choose to continue with her, and I highly recommend you do, this is followed by the course Herbal Self-Care as a Radical Act, Healing Self and Culture. This is a 4-week course beginning on October 22nd, and it will be offered through the Quantum School, which is a donation-based, woman-run organization. The course begins with a Samhain ritual of death and rebirth, honoring the ancestors and the future generations. You'll then go on to celebrate the full moon, explore the gifts offered by the notorious Mercury retrograde, and then you'll end at the beginning with a new moon ritual where you'll plant vision seeds of intention in the fertile darkness of your imagination. You'll be guided throughout by wise elders known as the plants, and of course, guided by Robin herself. Self-care is a radical act, and with the help of the plants, it is not selfish. It is essential. And I'm here to tell you that one of the greatest gifts of self-care you can give yourself is to learn from Robin Rose Bennett. I'm always recommending Robin's classes and books to anyone who listens, and now it's your chance to learn from her yourself. For all information, go to robinrosebennett.com or find her on Instagram at Robin Rose Bennett. That's RobinRoseBennett. This episode of The Witch Wave is brought to you by Moon Studio and their Many Moons Lunar Planner. Every year, I get excited about the new Many Moons Lunar Planner, and the 2026 edition is available for pre-order now. Do you want to reconnect with your own magic with plenty of support from experts? Are you ready to realign with the rhythms of nature and tap into your own true nature? If you need centering, grounding, and rituals that are designed to work, Many Moons is here for you. The Many Moons Lunar Planner is a comprehensive spiritual guide that combines a fully functional Gregorian calendar with the cycles of the moon. It also includes all major astrological transits, channeled themes for each month, and abundant tarot spreads. This is truly one of the most comprehensive magical planners around, and as soon as you receive this wonderful treasure, you will understand why it is a cult classic with over 100,000 copies sold. Pre-order yours now at moon-studio.co. That's moon-studio.co. Hi, Witch Wavers. I know, and you know, you want some Witch Wave merch. And our print-on-demand merch site is now available through Dashery. So if you want to get different variations of our gorgeous Witch Wave logo designed by Thunderwing, or our Witches Are the Future catchphrase designed by Lara Antal, printed on everything from t-shirts, mugs, totes, stickers, magnets, notebooks, you name it, you can. Shirts come in different styles and fabrics and are available in sizes small through 5XL, so you can order whatever you'll feel you're most comfortable and most magical in. So head on over to witchwave.dashery.com. That's witchwave.dashery.com, or you can click the Dashery link in the Witchwave shop over at witchwavepodcast.com/shop. Welcome back to the Witchwave. You brought up the word spirituality.
No, I didn't. I never said that.
You said it.
Did I?
And you're on the Witchwave. So we're going to talk about spirituality
Let's
and
do it.
magic.
I was hoping we would.
Go. Let's go.
Is there a sting now? Is this the section? And now we've got hats on.
I know,
and
wizard hats. I wish I brought some wizard hats. Josh, damn it. We need some smoke in here. What are we doing? Dry ice? So I happen to know you as quite a spiritual person, certainly a spiritual seeker. You're squinting at me. Why? Immediately skeptical.
I'm curious to know where you're going with this.
Here is what I know from you.
Mm-hmm.
I know you as somebody who meditates.
Mm-hmm.
You have a meditation hut on your property.
It's a barn.
You have to crawl up a little ladder to
I
get
can't use
there.
that anymore.
You can't?
No.
Why?
It's o'ertaken with squirrels and possums.
That's even better. You're like Radagast the Brown. You can go up there and get covered in squirrel shit and meditate, and it'll be perfect.
I would have a hard time accommodating the squirrel shit. It would distract me. I'm not good enough.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. My point is, I know you as a meditator.
Mm-hmm.
I know you as someone who, and I don't know how much you're allowed to talk about this, but you do something mysterious involving rituals in the woods with, don't look at me like
The
that.
hell are you talking about, Grossman?
With sweat lodges and vision
yeah,
quests and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Burns.
Sure, I've done that. I've been invited to those things and done that. Yeah.
Yes. And I know you as somebody who, speaking about death, as someone who, you've had great loss in your life. Your father passed away.
Sure.
And you have spoken to me about still having a sense of connection with him and signs from him and things. I consider this all under like the rubric or the umbrella of spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think of yourself like that? What is your relationship to spirituality, to magic? You can answer that in any which way you want.
But does it have to be a which way?
It does. It does have to be a which way.
Well, let's start with meditation.
Okay.
I would not consider my meditation practice spiritual in any way, right?
Okay. Tell me more.
Well, see.
When did you start?
But see, I don't know if that's true. Ostensibly, it's not. I started about 10 years ago.
Okay. Why?
Great pain that I could not hold. I think a lot of people start there.
Are we talking about depression?
Yeah,
Are we talking about...
we're talking about depression, grief from the death of my father, just untreated, just years and years and years of untreated depression, becoming too heavy for Superman to lift, as they say.
Yes.
Just collapse. I read a book called When Things Fall Apart by Pema Chodron.
I love that book.
Oh my God, that book.
She is something. She's a bodhisattva.
She breaks it down. She breaks it down. But, I was in therapy, and I was trying everything as we do. And I was trying some CBT, cognitive behavioral stuff. And I was like, this sounds like shit I read once in Buddhism. And I started looking for that intersection. And the app Headspace?
Sure.
That's a good app.
I can't do it because I'm weird about British people.
Oh, and
Sorry to say.
Andy Petticomb's too much for you.
Well, I'll say this. If you have had British ex-boyfriends and British bosses, you do not find that accent to be as charming as most people do. I
Fair.
don't hate the accent. British people, I love you, but it doesn't soothe me. I'm not like immediately charmed by a British accent the way many people are. This is
Right.
one of my superpowers.
That is a superpower.
I know,
You're
I'm
resistant.
saying I really am. But I know people love Headspace and it's changed a lot of
Yeah.
people's lives for the better for sure.
So anyway, I was listening to Headspace, but I didn't listen to it very long, but I was like, wait a minute. What this guy is doing is exactly this other stuff.
Yes.
And you can't fool me.
Yes.
You know, this is Buddhist meditation.
Yes.
So I started dabbling in there, and that's when I read Pema Chodron, and I eventually found Soto Zen, Zazen, which is just sitting meditation. And it's very secular, right?
Mhm.
And I sit on a little cushion, which lives in front of my thinking chair in my barn. So I have a thinking chair, and then there's the cushion, which I call my not thinking chair.
Oh,
Right.
Steve,
And
come on.
I sit on that, and the idea is to sit in a very specific posture with your eyes open for 25 minutes, staring 45-degree angles about 2 feet in front of you, and release your thoughts. You practice non-attachment and all this stuff.
Right.
And it sounds simple, and I hated it at first. I was like, this is hooga booga horse shit. What is this? What am I doing? Am I breathing through my butt? Like, what is this stupid? I hate this shit.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
But it's become incredibly important to me.
Yes.
And I think more than anything else, it has rewired my thinking and restructured who I am in positive ways. But I wouldn't consider it spiritual. However,
Yes.
I think what it is reps. I'm working out, right?
Okay.
I'm doing reps in my mind to not attach to the weather of my emotions.
That
and
is
my
the
moods.
most dude bro way of talking about meditation I've ever heard.
Well, it's also in a lot of the texts in basically that language.
Mm-hmm.
And what that allows for occasionally is in life, it makes room for what I would call grace, which might be where we're intersecting,
Okay.
right? Now, you said magic. Well, first of all, let's go back to the
Vision quests and
the
rituals
Vision
in
Quest
the
stuff.
woods.
Like that is something I get invited to.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real honor to be invited into that community, so I do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my journey. I don't feel super connected to those customs.
Okay.
And sometimes I feel like my presence is like, I'm so sorry, I don't know what you're singing. I don't know what you're doing. Should I not be here? Should I go away?
What cultural context is it? Is it Indigenous
It's
American?
Lakota.
Okay.
Lakota Inupi.
Mm-hmm. And they invited you to
Yeah.
bear witness or hold space
Well,
or
It's a sweat lodge,
Mhm.
right? And there's a Lakota chief from Austin who comes up to my part of the Catskills and runs them sometimes. And he's a super cool guy. And he basically said, this is not appropriation in any way. There are versions of this that you're not allowed to do.
sure.
This is not that version.
You are being
Yeah.
invited into the community.
I was in a sweat lodge once where they did it in English, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea what they were saying, but I assumed it was great crow spirit of the sky, bless upon me the sun spirit. And it was more like, hey, grandma, hey, grandpa, thanks for hanging out.
Yeah.
Like we brought some
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
You
Get all the
know,
ancestors down.
Thank
Yeah.
you for this day. Thank you for this way.
Yeah.
We sure do miss you.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like, this is so interesting.
But Steve,
here's
that is spirituality.
is it?
Yes, it's ancestor. I don't know if you'd call it veneration or connection to the great beyond, or to you're connecting to the immaterial realm.
Mm.
You're having an energetic exchange with something that you cannot see, and it is meaningful and transformational.
Energetic exchange with something I cannot see. I could say I could be standing next to a microwave and have that, right? But what you said at the end of that changes that for me,
Mm,
and that it is meaningful,
right.
and that you find meaning and great meaning in it that you might not be able to explain or understand.
Mm-hmm.
That is valuable, whether or
Mhm.
not that is spirituality or whatever you want to call that.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree that is a profoundly valuable experience. Is that mystical? Is that what we're talking about?
I think it is.
But isn't that what that means? I don't know what it means. I think mystical means it's a direct encounter that supersedes your intellect or
Yeah,
whatever.
and my understanding of mystical as opposed to magical, even though they are interrelated, is magic is you're hoping for a result.
Mm,
When you're casting a spell, you're hoping for there to be a result or a change or
Yeah.
transformation, a shift. And mystical, you are transcending.
yeah.
And ultimately, yes, you can have a change from the experience, but it's about unifying with something greater than yourself.
Yeah.
That's my understanding.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know this and your husband knows this. I am a skeptic by nature.
Yes.
And I'm a fairly pessimistic person,
Mm.
right? And I'm a skeptic, especially of this stuff, right?
So why are you here?
Because I adore you and
Charity, pity.
and I feel differently about it now.
Yeah.
After my father passed, and he was the same, you know, but except that he was like a deeply Catholic person, which is a very mystical, spiritual
Oh my
practice.
goodness. Deeply magical too, I would say.
But after he passed, I mean, I had multiple experiences that I'm sure I could explain away with, you know, the scientific method and empirical reasoning and things like that. I'm sure I could,
But that's no fun.
but I don't particularly feel like I need to. And it doesn't matter because these experiences were extremely meaningful to me. One of them, I'll tell you real quick, happened in the Inipi Sweat Lodge. It was very soon after my father died. I got invited to my first one. And I didn't know what to expect, and none of these people knew me. And I was in the dark in this incredibly hot room, suffering as you do.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to go around and offer something, right? And, you know, I could hear people in the dark, and then it was my turn. And the person conducting the lodge said, "Okay, Joe, it's your turn." And I'm looking around, I was like, "Oh, I guess they skipped me. I don't know who Joe is." And they're like, "Joe, it's your turn." And he tapped me and he said, "Joe." And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, my name is Steve." He said, "Okay, Steve, can you offer something?" "Wait, who's Joe?" And I was like, "I don't know." He's like, "Is there a Joe in your life?" I'm going to get emotional. I can't talk about my dad on podcasts without crying. And he died 10 years ago. See, this is another one of these experiences.
Mm-hmm.
But I said, my father's name was Joe. And he's like, that makes sense. Joe's here. And he said, and he thinks this is pretty cool. Which is great because he would have thought that, you know.
Fuck right.
And the whole reason I'm even up in the Catskills was because of this sort of experience I had where I felt like my father kind of led me
I love
there.
this story. Can you tell this story?
Yeah. I was camping around in the Catskills looking to get out of Brooklyn, and my father had passed, and I was sleeping in a tent, and I had this really super duper vivid dream that I kept turning into a moth, and my wings would turn to ashes, and then they would come out and turn to ashes again. And it was very like, I need to be this moth. I can't be this moth. And so then I was getting gas, and I heard my father say, "Hey, Steve, you should go around back beyond the gas station." And when I say that, it wasn't like, "Father, is that you?"
Yes.
It was like, yeah, okay. It felt very commonplace and mundane,
Mm-hmm.
but completely undeniable. And I'm not a crazy pants. And these are not things that I look for in life. And these are not things that I typically accept as being possible.
Mm.
But I was just like, yeah, man. All right. So I went behind the gas station, and there were about 150 monarch butterflies drinking from a puddle.
Oh,
And I went over, of course, to get the picture for the gram.
yeah, as you do.
And they like Batmaned me. It was a pretty amazing moment. I was like, oh my God, this is happening. This is happening. And I took that as a sign. And so I was like, maybe I should look around up here for a place to live. And right up the street, I found a little piece of property for sale. And I called the guy, and I camped there that night. And I was like, maybe this is it. And I woke up and I realized I was half a mile from a place called Burns Road. And I went down the end of Burns Road, and old man Burns had founded the town. And he looked so much like my grandfather that I showed him to my sister, and she like wept. And it really felt like, you know, Dad led me to these mountains. And moving to those mountains has been like the smartest thing I ever did.
Mm-hmm.
And whether that is something that I'm doing, processing grief, or if that is something that is happening to me from beyond, or if it's an alien playing a joke on me, I'm
Right.
not sure.
Uh-huh.
But it has great meaning,
Yes.
and it has been valuable to me.
First of all, I love these stories. Thank you for sharing them. Second of all, you just told me a bunch of magical shit in a row and then said, but I don't know. And I think a lot of people can relate to what you just did, which is to have this like incredibly, what I would call magical experience, this deep, meaningful experience that it's not just something you're thinking about. You felt it, right? It's like an embodied experience. But then try to like unspool it somehow or be like, but it could be bullshit, or maybe it's a trick I'm playing on myself, or maybe it's a placebo effect, blah, 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 blah. Because I don't know, because we're afraid to look like fools, or we're embarrassed, or maybe we can just say, I don't know. Maybe it's a mystery.
That's what
and
I'm
that's
saying.
okay. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What I don't want to do when I say maybe it's this, maybe it's that, I'm not trying to shit on the magic of it.
Yes.
I'm just trying to say, I'm not taking a position.
Okay.
Right? I don't know that it's magic in the same way that I don't know that it's not, I guess, is sort of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't want to like assume that it is some sort of magic or something determinative from beyond that I can't control or that I have nothing to do with, that is happening to me, that is interceding in my life. I don't want to assume that. I don't have reason necessarily to assume that. And at the same time, I can't exactly explain it. I can't exactly explain it with empiricism, right? So I guess I would like to hold both.
Yeah.
Right? But I can't respect both and diminish either.
I get it.
You see what I'm saying?
I do. I do. All right. Well, I'm not going to impose my own view on you. I totally hear what you're saying. And it makes me happy to hear that you at least are open. You're open. You're not sure.
Yeah.
You're hanging out in a liminal space of mystery.
Or I'm at least appreciating what the mystery has given. You know?
That works for me. So we just have a few minutes left. And I don't know if you're somebody who believes in the power of manifestation. When I look at your life, I look at someone who's had incredible amounts of, I suppose we could call success by certain metrics, by traditional metrics. And at the same time, I think you've also had to learn to like ride the waves of your life going in directions that maybe you didn't predict or, you know, were unexpected, and trying to find the gift in those different kind of corners that life took you down. But if you could manifest something for yourself in your life, in your career, and you could speak it into being, what would you like that to be? Whether that's about the intention for your podcast, your career, your life overall, like what are some things you would like to manifest for yourself if you could, or for the world if you could?
Can I be tall?
I mean, we can stretch you out a little bit, but
honestly, and this is going to sound like bullshit, but I would like the next part of my life to be a lot less about me. Like straight up, you know, I'm just a little sick of the material at this point. I would like to find some way to include more service in my life. And in a way that's selfish, because that is the way I have identified. That's the surefire hack to happiness.
Yeah.
Right?
Help other people.
Yeah. And I don't really do that so much. And I would like to do.
I don't think that's true. I found you to be a very helpful, generous person in your off-camera life. But I hear you. You want to do more of it.
I do kind of feel like I'm going through a second adolescence. Your husband and I are roughly the same age. I know he feels this way. I feel old as shit. I lament my lost youth. But I also feel more comfortable than I've ever been. I feel the quality of my life has increased in really important ways. And I would love for the rest of it not to care so much about this and maybe be more about that in some real ways, you know?
I think that's gorgeous. And I genuinely think that your podcast is going to bring a lot of joy and meaning to a lot of people. I truly, truly do, Steve. I also still think that there is possibly a future if you want it. And I've said this to you so many times. You're so fucking good as an actor, Steve. Stop it.
Sometimes
Steve, I've said this to you so
I'm
many
not
times.
gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it.
I feel like
I won't say thank you.
if you, whatever the next version of like The Bear is or Succession or whatever the fuck, you'd
I'm
be
on
so
season
good on it.
2 of The Bear.
What?
I know. I'm way behind. Jamie Curtis
Oh, I thought
nearly
you meant-
killed me.
I thought you meant
No.
you're on The Bear. I'm like, how did I miss you?
Jamie Lee Curtis killed me.
Yeah,
she killed me.
unbelievable in it.
I was telling her, I was like, I almost turned it off.
She's so astoundingly
It hurt.
gifted.
I was like, yo, that's too good. That's too much. That's too much. I don't want that much. You know,
She's so
she
fucking good.
was transcendently good on that. And she comes back, right?
I mean, I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
You have to keep watching.
told
It's
me.
really,
So
it's really good. I'm just saying that I do see a version of your life, if you want it, where you are also an actor and sharing those gifts because you're so fucking good. And I'll stop saying it. But
here's what I
that's how
want
I
to do as an
feel.
actor.
Okay.
This guy, he's in
Okay.
every show, right? There's a computer here, and he's
Yes.
got a big gulp right here. He's going,
click a click a click a click a click.
I'm trying. What do you think I'm doing? What do you think I'm doing? Right? Does this look easy to you? Well, it's not. Maybe you should learn JavaScript.
Oh my God.
I want to be that guy. That guy's got 2 scenes. You know what I mean? And he's a working actor. I could do that. I could be that guy.
All right, Steve. Well, in the meantime, everyone's going to be very excited to listen to your podcast. Once again, it is called Alive with Steve Burns. It comes out September 17th. Steve, I think you are very magical. I think you're a monster, a beast, a goblin, and I hate you
I hate you too, Pam.
and I love you.
And
Thanks
I
for
love you
doing
too.
this.
You're great at this. You're so
nice.
good at this. When we wrap this, I'm going to pick your brain and you're going to give me all the podcast advice.
You got it, kiddo.
All right.
Thanks, Steve. That's it for the show. Thank you again to Steve Burns for sharing his connective magic with me. Do you have questions, feedback, need some witchly advice, or just want to share something magical that happened to you recently? Drop us an email or a voice memo over at witchwavepodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you, and you just might make it on the Witch Wire. Please check out the video of my conversation with today's guest and prior guests over at my YouTube channel @Phantasmophile, and please like and subscribe. The Witch Wave is a Phantasmophile production, written and produced by me, Pam Grossman. We are 100% independently run and proud of it. This episode was recorded and edited by Josh Wilcox and or Walter Nordquist and myself. Our theme music is the song Hand and I by Lycanthia. Our new Witchwave logo was designed by Thunderwing. Special thanks go to Matt Freeman, Laura Antal, and Cece Pascal. Please pick up my books Magic Maker and Waking the Witch, or the Witchcraft volume I co-edited for Tashin's Library of Esoterica series. And if you want more Witchwave, or you would just like to support the show, please join us over on Patreon. That's patreon.com/witchwave. Thank you so much for listening. Witches are the future. I'll catch you next time on The Witch Wave.